Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to another Naval Battlezone video, and to the Welcome to NBZ Trainer series. um, and I'm going to be doing a video, for all the different kinds of vehicles featured in Naval Battlezone. So I will start with ships, probably the spotlight, and definitely the most important. So this is probably the most important element of your ship, because without it, your ship is not going to function. This is known as the main vehicle sign. Every kind of vehicle has this. Even, aircraft, ship, submarine, tank, you name it, all has a main vehicle sign. This is also what carries the ship's name, and this is how you're going to be able to activate a ship. So you right click on it, and you're going to get a golden sword, and it'll say you launch the, and then whatever you named it, and then it gives you how much it's going to cost, and then it says starting engines. So you right click in front to bring your speed up. It goes from 1/3 to flank, and then to change the gear, you shift and then you right click again, and it'll say set to gear 2. Now ships only go to gear 2, unlike planes. I'm not quite sure tanks do, but I know planes do. And then if you are wanting to slow yourself down, you simply just right click backwards and it slows you down. Same with gears. You shift, right click backwards. Now to turn is very straightforward. You just basically point in the general direction you want to turn. So if you want to do a full 90-degree turn to one side, you basically just look in that direction and right click, and it would say turning to heading and then whatever. But as you can see, my rudder is disabled because I'm in safe dock right now. Now you do the same for the other side. If you don't want to do a full turn and you just want to vary your course just a little bit, you can point at a 45-degree angle and click that way. Now what that's going to do is cause your ship to slide of sorts, almost. But it's not going to make you do a full 90-degree turn. It's just kind of a half turn. And of course, again, you do it with both sides. And that's basically driving a ship. Driving a ship is pretty easy, and it's kind of the same for all the different vehicles. Now, the second most important thing is with ships is using cannons, as it is the standardized weapon of the ships. Now, to use a cannon, what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to right or left click the dispenser, and it's going to say cannon loaded, however many shots remaining, and then it's going to tell you your power. Now the power is a lot like the velocity, and it has a great effect on range, of course. And each cannon can go power 1, 2, 3, or 4. So I'm going to just set it to 3. And then if you right click the button, it is going to tell you a flight fuse. Now the flight fuse is basically just something that indicates how long it's going to be before the round explodes. So if I say long flight fuse, the block of TNT would burn for a long time until it explodes. So I'm going to go medium flight fuse just because that's probably the most practical. Now here, the lever rotates the gun, and the guns can turn 360 degrees unless they have this wooden block behind them that prevents them from turning where that wooden block is. So that's a good thing to do if it's in front of a superstructure like this. Now, when a gun is pointed in a certain direction, you have a window kind of from there-ish over to there, sort of. And you can fire anywhere in that range as the gun's pointed here. Now if you wanted to fire over here, you would need to turn the gun to that area, and then you can shoot from about there to there. So, to fire, you simply right click on the button, a block of TNT appears, you point where you want to fire, and it shoots. Now it's not like it just goes on forever. It does come down eventually. There is gravity here. But that's how to operate a cannon. They're pretty easy once you get the hang of it. Now, an AA gun for shooting down planes, and is a good thing to use against players that are trying to get on your ship or whatever. They're a great multi-purpose weapon. You simply right-click to get on them, and you left-click wherever you want to shoot. Now, one thing about AA guns that's different than cannons is AA guns have unlimited ammunition, whereas cannons do not. They have a limited amount of ammunition, which I believe is 40 shots. And then some signs on a ship. This is the helm sign. This is basically just another way to drive your ship. Now it tells you your heading, your gear, and your speed. You know, sometimes it's worth paying attention to these, sometimes it's not. If you're particular about it, you can pay attention to it, but most people aren't very particular about it. But the helm, you can basically just, like the main vehicle sign, right-click on it, and again, you have control of your ship, so you can turn, speed up, slow down, etc. from a helm. A helm is basically just another way to drive your ship. Now, depth charge launchers. These probably aren't a very commonly used weapon on Naval Battlezone. But to work them, you simply right-click on a dispenser, and you basically just click to drop it almost. You can select your depth, but the usual way people do it is they just right-click and drop. But they're not necessarily a big thing to pay attention to because there's not a lot of opportunities where you're going to need to use them. Now, for engines, there's several different kinds of engines in the game. There's gasoline, as seen on this ship. And these signs, you need to have them, but you don't need to tend to them, really. You can turn them on and off, as like so. But as long as they're on, you don't really need to do anything. But your ship's not going to move if it doesn't have an engine. Sonar, like this, detects things underwater. Of course, sonar, what would you expect? Now, and it's very straightforward. It gives you a bearing. So 90 is going to be to your right, 270 is going to be to your left, and 180 is going to be behind you. Now, nav signs are, they're kind of tricky if you don't understand them. So, it says now nav, and this is how you can navigate around the NBZ map. It will say grid, and then it will give you 2 letters and a number. The number simply represents where you are in that grid. Now, the letters represent what grid you are in. Now, if you want to find the map, the Naval Battlezone World War I map, it shows you the map with all of these letters on it, and you just use the corresponding letters, and it says grid JE, so on the map you would find JE, and that's where you'd be. Now, heading, simply, if you're pointed north, south, east, or west, and fathometer tells you how many blocks from the ship it is to the bottom. Now, radar, probably one of the best detection devices on the server. Works at high speed, and it detects surface targets and planes. But it's also very straightforward. 0 is going to be in front of you, 180 is going to be behind you, etc. Now, radio is basically just a way to chat distinctively with other ships. Now, how to operate a radio is you right-click to change the number. Now, you can have a 4-number station, and then because you see that little arrow on the bottom, that's kind of the selection thingy. So if you go shift and then you right-click again, it'll change the slot. So I could go 1, 2. and then I could do it again and be like 1, 2, 3. You can also turn it on and off like that, so you can turn the radio off if you don't want to get messages or send them out. And then to use the radio, you would just do /RA and then your message. And it will talk to any other ships that are on your 4-number frequency. Now, torpedoes are they can be, fishy sometimes if you don't get their design right. But to operate them, you basically just you right-click this dispenser, and it says torpedo system active, depth set. Now, you can left-click it again to change the depth, I believe. Yeah, so you left-click it again to change the depth. Now, this lever here opens the outer tube doors, and you need the outer tube doors open to fire, or else your torpedoes will not fire. This button basically signifies the firing mode. So if you click it, it says right tube. So when you press it, it'll only fire the right tube. And you can click both, and when I press it now, it'll fire both. And I click it again for left. And then you left click it. Then you'd left click it and it would fire. So, torpedo systems are pretty simple. This particular one is not set up for reloading, but I will cover that in the submarine video, hopefully. And yeah, for radar or any kind of detection device, X is going to equal very close, and a lowercase x is going to equal medium range, and then just a dot is going to equal far range. And that goes with any detector, really. So, is there anything that I've missed? I do not believe so. Well, thank you very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed it, and I hope this was helpful.